Hello, so I'll be on for about an hour. Unfortunately, obviously, it's not all good news today because it's Easter Sunday and the UK, our death toll from Corona has hit over 10,000 today. Thankfully, obviously not 10,000 in a single day, but the actual growing numbers got to that. And, I know for a lot of people it's not the nicest stuff going on at the moment, is it? But hello to everybody. I hope you're all doing all right. I did see a lot of people were saying, they were doing stuff to make the best out of Easter during lockdown, so that's nice, but yeah, happy Easter, but for a lot of people, sadly, it's not a very happy Easter. Thankfully, at least in my family, there's not been any, any really bad stuff going on. But, I'm doing all right, Henry, other than, the whole situation is still very hard for me to get my head around, in all honesty. Just because it is a very odd situation to live through, isn't it? But I'm all right. I thought I'd put the merch hoodie on because I found that the other day where it was and washed it. So that's all... I'm all right, Nate. As I've been saying, I've been finding the whole thing more weird than anything else. There are days, though, when it does feel a bit shitty with everything going on at the moment. But, at the moment, I think it's just more the weird factor of everything, rather than the everything else. There should be a Teespring link below, Jamie, if you wanted to get one of the merch hoodies. But, yeah, they were drawn by my friend Bart. And for any of the mods that are on, that is Jabot in the chat in the Discord, who's never really on it. But yeah, he did all the merch designs for all these. But yeah, and then you can get them printed through Teespring if you're a YouTube partner. So yeah, I'd agree with you, Doctor. The whole thing is a very, very strange feeling. In all honesty, I'd agree with you there. It's because obviously during previous pandemics or whatever in human history, people are just told to get on with it, even if people are dying. But at the moment, you've got this thing of people are dying, but lots of people are locked down. I've worn half-face respirators outside quite a bit, Sopo, but I've also not been outside all that much because you're not meant to be outside all that much, so, Right, so Mags JU wants me to scream really loud at the end of the stream. That's the Tricks. Yeah, I can understand why they're doing that, Yakov, because I imagine a lot of people wouldn't do it, would they, unless they had to, unfortunately. It's like in the UK, we're having the problem of just, where you're not meant to be going outside to do certain things and people are still doing it, so they're having to make the penalties harsher, because as much as the majority of the people are sensible and follow them, the minority will start ruining it for everybody because they will still keep mingling with other people and that. Cool. Which model, Stug? The PNV 57A or the 57E? Because they're quite different in terms of night vision capabilities. 40mm Ghost Lee Tyaz. I haven't seen Rajiv in a couple of days, Henry. I'll check the block list, though, after this stream, because it could have been possible that another mod blocked him or something, but I haven't seen him, unfortunately, and Rajiv normally makes quite good comments. Survive said he's been self-isolating for years, don't blame him. What, do you feel ill, non-important creature, or just tired? I'd clean it regardless, Waylon, because you never know if somebody's had it on and been really sweaty or whatever, What, as in to try and shame people for going to church, Abe, or what? 40mm Li. Oh, what, just drunk then? All right, Tony in Croatia, and happy birthday. Sorry, I only just saw that message, but at the moment, Gorilla, probably wish I did, but no, I don't normally. Depends what you mean by dust masks, Bethany. Any kind of filter layer between you and it is better than nothing, but If you meant like a very simple N95 P1 dust mask, it offers a bit of protection, but not all that much. If you meant like a FFP3 or whatever they call them, proper dust mask, that's a lot better. Happy birthday to Doombrain's wife. Yeah, I know, Nate, they're banned a lot of it in a lot of places, haven't they? And there's still some people ignoring it because they're like, oh, the church protects you from the virus or the mosque protects you from the virus. What do you mean by a P65? I know about P95s or N95s, but I don't know what a P65 is. Isn't there a thing in the UK, like when you change a job, that's a P65 or something like that? P60 Basingstoke said. Right, Peach? Or P45, other people say. Oh yeah, exactly, Abel. It's the same thing with all religions, isn't it? That at the moment, going to a service is not a good idea just because you're more likely to spread the virus. You know, it's better for everybody to stay at home and watch online services or whatever. I don't know what that will mean, Bethany, because normally it's always. Are you sure it wasn't 95, not 65? Because P95 is a thing, but P65 isn't. But if it's a P95, that does give some protection because it's like a basic dust mask, basically. Could be survive. I mean, there's a lot of reasons it could have spread quickly, but the more you limit contact, the less it, goes around. Oh, you actually infected, George? Well, stay safe. Hopefully yours only is like a mild illness and you get over it quickly and are immune, but Lucas says, do you know any gas masks which can be worn with glasses? I can't see that great without them, so it'd be a bit problematic. Other than half-face respirators, sadly not, because you can either get like optical inserts for full face masks, for some models anyway, but for a lot of masks, no, unfortunately, because they seal like there on your face and the glasses frame breaks it. I can look into it, Blue Chimps, but the problem is I don't have many masks in really bad condition. I'm not going to damage a mask to simply do a repair video on it. Let's have a look at that one. CDR 4500. That's a Drago one, is it? Yeah, looks pretty nice. I have a weird feeling that's like one of the similar ones that the Pewter one rips off. MSA Millenniums, as far as I'm aware, are 40mm NATO, so pretty much any 40mm filter is going to fit in the mask. Yeah, quite a few masks have glasses inserts, but the problem is a lot of people don't actually have the glasses inserts in their prescription. They look cool, FDS man, when you mean aesthetics, but personally with a mask, practicality is all I really care about. What do you mean, Basingstoke Dave? What, the, like, clips on the back? I mean, obviously I'd get a refund on it if that happens and it was brand new. Oh, Gadsden flag, you mean Perfect Society? Whatever it's called. Right, George, hope that still keeps working well for you, but I think you need emergency treatment, don't you, if your breathing continues to get worse, because some people seem to have, like, a relatively mild or flu-like illness for a while and then start recovering, but some people it lingers and lingers and it just gets worse and worse. All right, young rail enthusiast. Cool, let's look that one up. MSA Ultra Elite Full Face Piece. I'm glad you like the videos Norwegian would. That looks fairly good. That's an interesting looking design, isn't it, with how the filter's going? Yeah. Is that like the firefighter style one? But it's an interesting design. I wish I'd had too many pancakes today. That's alright, Titan. Glad you're on. Depends what you're asking them about, Darius, I suppose, because a lot of the time the Home Office stuff varies from the Police UK stuff. They don't always have the same info on both governmental sites, essentially. But sadly, I know there's a lot of stuff where if you try and contact the police over something, they don't even get back to you. You know, even when people have, like, pretty important legal questions, like, apparently, you know, it's not worth clarifying. I suppose the police aren't really lawmakers, are they? They're law enforcers. Oh, Norwegian would say that is the firefighter design, fits great and seals properly. What sort of filter are you using with it then? Or have you got on some sort of airline? Or does it have an adapter so it then takes normal filters? Where I am, flour in that is back on the shelves last time I was out shopping. Yeah, toilet roll aisles are back to normal now. That's a very good point, Crane, but that's the way of the world. Avengement, don't think I've ever seen that. Yeah, it's over 10,000 now, Joshua. Hence, sort of the title of this stream, because it's what I was saying at the very beginning. But yeah, obviously not 10,000 in a single day, but today we've gone over 10,000. I think we've had a couple of days where the numbers have been lower consecutive days, but sadly that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence because they've had that a few times so far, and it turns out we weren't at the peak. So yeah, today we were up 737 more deaths, bringing the total to 10,612. However, the problem is they're apparently not recording deaths in nursing homes on that number. But yeah, on April the 10th, we had 8,681 new cases. And April the 10th was also a day of 980 deaths. So the 10th was 980. Yesterday was 917. Today was 780 or whatever it was. But, you know, we'd hope that's a peak. But sadly, I don't think it is because I think most doctors still think the peak's a few days to a week away. Rubbing alcohol, pour swift, silicone lubricant. I don't know if the lockdown's going to extend to that long. I hope it wouldn't, but it's not going to end all of a sudden, is it? Yeah, Corona Bunny doesn't sound as nice, George, as the Easter Bunny. No, Richard Weaponsmith, who's a couple of posts below you, has done a lot of forging stuff, Ari too, but I've never tried it. But apparently he had a lot of trouble getting, like the right sort of coal and everything for the forge. Yeah, the problem we're having at the moment is lots of companies keep saying, oh, we're developing a vaccine, but then it keeps going no further than that, and it almost seems a very cynical attempt at boosting their stock price. Yeah, exactly, Peach. The Coke, he needed the quality Welsh Coke. The engines love the Welsh Coke. Oh, a thing, Abel, I don't know if you know about this with Fallout, is that it's set in an alternative history where semiconductors were never invented, so everything uses retro vacuum tube technology. And again, like Fighting Fun says, a vaccine could be irrelevant if it's mutated to the point that's not even the same thing by the time the vaccine comes out. Oh yeah, at the moment, Nate, you're still allowed out to exercise as much as some people still abuse it, but oh, what, the old one with Cryptosporidium Rooks, Little Alien, Destroy All Humans? Yeah, Destroy All Humans 1 and 2 is good. I never really played much of Destroy All Humans 3. But Pandemic Studios is unfortunately totally out of business now, aren't they? EA shut them down. Shrimp Zoo says, I am Shrimp Zoo. Yes, you are. It's hard to know, Johnny, because part of the problem also seems to be the reliability of tests, because it seems sometimes, I think, lots of people that are negative and then are positive later on, apologies, are because they've had, not very good quality tests done on them. Those tests come back negative even if they're positive, and then they still show up positive. No, I don't have a German Zodiac NBC suit, unfortunately. Well, takeaways are kind of an essential thing at the moment, aren't they? Where lots of people essentially only are allowed out to get food. If you're just getting food delivered to you or picking up food to take away, that's not really much of an issue. I don't currently have any hazmat level A suit, Shrimp Zoo, like some people would think of, but I've got quite a few NBC suits of varying sort of degrees. Let me just count them up. That one, the orange one behind it, that's 2 NBC suits. The 2 East German NBC suits, that's 4. British Mark III, British Mark IV, that's 6. 3 types of Polish NBC suit. 7, 8, 9. Do I have any other models of NBC suit? Oh, the West German one, that's 10. At least 10 NBC suits. I've already done a video like that, MK, like a very basic one, but the thing is, no, don't disinfect the filters unless they've got a plastic case around the outside. I don't know, Connor. Some people were talking about that earlier on the Discord, but apparently some of the fallout's meant to be getting to Kiev around now, but you'd need to find somebody with a Geiger counter measuring it. Thank you, Camper. It's actually visible at the moment, isn't it? Because it's normally in that corner, but I moved it because somebody asked about it on the stream. Right, I've got, dear love, some old British Army style ones, but I don't like those. I prefer using actual Wellington boots. It's for people who donate, Kai, but so I prefer using like Wellington boots, fishing wader type things. Was that the thing where they were digging the big trenches, Nate, and they were putting all the coffins in sort of in a row? It's a bit grim, but I can understand why they're doing it at a time like this. As in the new lot of Fallout, mate. Yes, apparently. If you want to get one, Piano Night, get one. Is that the one that's basically... Oh, wait, no. It's not a brilliant mask, that one, but it would work. Type in something like disinfection. Click on my channel profile. Go on the search box and type in disinfection or something like that, and you should be able to find it. I don't know if reptiles need gas mask, bad moth. Yeah, that is good news anyway that he's out of hospital, but I still don't think he's recovered properly, and I don't think he's going back to be doing his Prime Minister role anytime soon. I already answered you several times, Darius. I said you might get a response, you might not, because how do I know if an official will email you back? No, I've not heard of this Dr. Creep pandemic song, no. Pretty boring monster cat, but otherwise fine. Non-important creature, I would say no, that's not reasonable. Well, I've got some on shelf for display, but the problem is there's too many masks to put on the shelf. That sounds very overpriced, Ari Petrelli. You can probably get one for the same type for $50 to $100 on eBay. I have no interest in Minecraft, Peppy. The Queen says, do they sell gas masks in gold? I don't know, Madge. No, my dad and I just had different food throughout the day. Nothing special at all, in all honesty, Charlie. I had some cereals and I had some biscuits today. And once the stream's over, I'll get some more food. But no, I've not eaten anything properly in that sense. Yeah, I said that earlier, Sam. It's good he's okay, as much as there was some sick fucks earlier, on the radio going, Boris dies because he must have cut the NHS and that's why this happened. Even though every single country in the world is having to deal with coronavirus, it's not exclusive to the UK. What's DBZ or DBZ? Is that Dragon Ball Z? Star Wars, I like the old Star Wars videos. Probably not V, although at the moment I do get a lot more views, so you never know. Yeah, I like blood sausage actually, although normally here we call it black pudding, but yeah. Probably because your hot exhaled breath piano night is going onto the eyepieces. Right, thanks for wasting everybody time, Darius, with your pointless questions then. Does anybody know, actually, in the chat, because I wanted to ask about this, what the charity was, or the GoFundMe thing, where they were trying to make masks as cheap as possible for the NHS staff? Because I was trying to find out, and I can't remember what it's called now. But basically, there was a thing I heard on LBC yesterday at one point, where it was about some company that produces medical gear. And rather than profiteering, what they're doing is they're trying to make stuff as cheaply as possible and using things like GoFundMe so people can essentially, help them process the costs of lots of production. I don't think it was 3D printing. I think it was a company that made like bits of masks and that. So they have the equipment and all that to do it anyway. So all they're doing is basically just, producing as much as possible and using a GoFundMe to do it. Because I wouldn't mind donating to them, but the problem is I can't actually remember what it was called, like when they said on the thing. But yeah, the point was, though, at least it was a company, unlike others that are profiteering, that were, just asking for donations so they could keep spamming out as much, protective gear as quickly as possible for doctors. Put some anti-fog paste inside Piano Night. Well, I'm not the one making them, Rooks, so I can't tell you. No, I'm still going to be on for a bit, Daniel. That sounds like a good thing, fighting fund. So that's spare masks for nurses, and they collect spares and deliver them to hospital. No, Conquer, I've not had anything weird, well, other than the weird situation we're all going through, but no, I've had like a couple of, in earlier life, weird paranormal things, but since then, not really anything. How do you mean, Laura? Would you like a picture of a GP5 washing its non-existent hands? That couldn't hurt, could it? Right, I'll read the thing in Elizabeth's voice. Do they make gas masks? That doesn't really sound like the Queen. Gas masks for dogs, specifically corgis. I love my dogs, and they can't get sick. Please tell me where to order them. But sadly, I don't think you're going to find dog masks anymore, other than like the old World War I, World War II antiques. So Dios made me laugh. He said, my Queen voice is the same as the Bane voice. They expect at least one of the corgis in the wreckage. I don't know how well it would work, Christopher. There was a thing I was reading last night where a load of places were doing like cobalt and cesium irradiation to try and like use it to clean N95 masks, and apparently that didn't work. I think the radionuclides obviously did kill the disease because of how scarily high the dose was, but it didn't actually make the mask still usable because there was still some damage done to the mask by the radiation. Yeah, Andrew, it's the baby coffin, whatever it's called. I know they wouldn't call it that, but Myra don't actually make it. They buy it from somebody else and rebrand it. I think it's one of the old Soviet baby coffins or whatever they called. Let me Let me see if I can find what this is actually called. KZD4, is it that? Soviet KZD4. Yeah, I think it's technically a Soviet KZD4 they still basically just sell. If you don't know, I can link you to one on eBay if you want. It's $100. I don't know if it'd be any good, but Shrimps said if you make some merch of shrimps wearing gas masks, I'll buy a shirt. Sadly, I'm not the one who draws these because I'm nowhere near good enough at that to draw it. I'd have to watch it again, CTB Rail, and see what I did. It's probably, this is bullshit. I can't remember. I've not watched it in ages. I don't know if somebody was asking me or somebody else. I'm like a Christian, but not very Christian. A man of culture said, today is Cosmonautics Day. Cheers, comrades. I'm getting pretty annoyed with the person spamming the same question in the chat without even putting a question mark on a question. Well, a carrier, even if they're asymptomatic and they're breathing in and out, is still going to infect people. And you can cough even if you've not got anything. You know, you can cough or sneeze just if you get nose irritation, not even, That's strange. I don't know why I'd be echoing. I've not got any chat thing open. No, it's not like I've got a mic thing open and then it's doing... No idea. Anti-fog paste piano night. Right, Dan. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we're at over 10,000 deaths today. We're not even as bad as some countries, but the UK's recovery to mortality rate is pretty horrific at the moment. Right, so there wasn't an echo. As far as I'm aware, N95 is a style of mask, Shrimp Zoo. Well, I know technically N95 is its own thing in a way, but FFP1, FFP2, FFP3 is normally just another way of referring to N95, N98, or whatever it is, an N100. What? I missed that comment, Nate. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if the Pope died and they replaced him with a double L and JFAT, but that would be a very weird twist, wouldn't it, to this whole thing? Oh, you do remind me of my son, Harry. You are a very gifted YouTuber, and we appreciate your hard work in this dreaded time of pandemic. Thank you, Elizabeth. But I didn't think the Queen liked Harry very much, hence why he's been sort of kicked out. Oh, so it was the speaker at Christopher's end. What Survive said for the person. Zadil, I don't know if one of the trackers has it on there. Let me have a look, because some trackers much earlier on. I apologise. Some trackers much earlier on in this had a thing where you could click countries and you could go to regions. But I don't know if a lot of them are doing it now. Right. That one isn't. Let's try one of the other ones. Oh, actually, yes, I know how you can do it. The Home Office had a thing, didn't they, where they did that? Let me see if I can find it. Right, apparently the BBC's kind of got a mirror of that. Thank you very much, Trump. He said, do a Donald Trump voice. Donald Trump talking about coronavirus. Something about ventilators. We got the best. It's all going to go away. It's like a miracle. Whatever he said. By Easter, it'll be gone. It's a miracle. Everybody will be in church. The thing is, I didn't mind Trump until recently, but with the corona stuff, I do really feel like Trump is dropping the ball on a lot of this, because he is, he has been doing the thing of it will just magically go away over and over and over. I haven't done one of Troubled Man on the Bagzaphorium yet, because I'm waiting for some other grades of healing powder to come from China, so I can measure if the different types of healing powder have different things. But I need to rewatch Jaws, Grobnob. I've not seen that in years. Charles says hydroxychloroquine. Chloroquine. I can't even pronounce it. You should get it from the fish tanks and drink it. It's just going to cure you. It's the best. But yeah. Isn't there a big problem in the US, though, in all seriousness, where people are buying shit out of that drug and it's not even helping them just because Trump just kept going on about it? Is Jaws a Revenge, Vanessa, the one with Michael Caine in? Where Jaws somehow goes to, like, the Caribbean or something? Over £50 for a good condition S10 is still a sensible price. I think the days of S10s being £30 are long since over. As somebody already asked me, Sean, I like the old Star Wars films, not the new ones. All right, Mike. Bit of a strange stream tonight. There's been some very strange questions, but otherwise I'm all right. How are you? I'm just trying to get used to being stuck inside all day. Elizabeth says, I wonder why people are stocking up on toilet paper. I really do something. Oops. Maybe 50 to 100 pounds or dollars mom spaghetti. I wouldn't pay too much for an OM90 because it's just not as good as 10. Right. I will do, Richard. Okay. I will build ventilators, great ventilators, and nobody builds ventilators like I do. And I'm going to make Mexico pay for it. Didn't Trump apparently spend like 2 hours rambling the other day? They kept going on about that over here, like where he was at one of those White House press things and he just wouldn't get off the stage. So more and more, media people just kept asking him random questions because he just wouldn't stop talking. Yeah, I'd say the Fashida's a better mask overall, Brian. Cheers, Swaggerino. My friend Bart drew it. There's links below if you actually want any of the Teespring merch on mugs or hoodies or whatever. Look below, Rooks. There should be a Teespring bar below the video. It's got all the merch on there. You just click it and then you can sort it by categories and choose your colours and everything. Oh, so it was people drinking algae killer, was it, Nate? I know Trump was doing the thing, didn't he, where he goes, we're going to pray for Boris, and then all Americans are praying for him, and then the next day Boris went into intensive care. I was thinking, I don't think your prayers are working very well, Trump, in all honesty. But then he kept, it was a nice gesture. He was like, all Americans are praying for Boris. I mean, it was a nice gesture, don't get me wrong. But I just did find the irony of it quite funny, where the day after he said Americans are all going to pray for Boris, Boris gets even worse. Dear Love says, I am not ashamed to believe in Jesus. Good for you. Ghost filter. Right, CTB Rail. These aren't technically Ghost filters. However, these seem to screw into Ghost masks really well. These are Pro 2000 Scott filters, made in Finland or whatever. But if you see how well those go into a Ghost thread, they go in pretty much perfectly. now to get it out where I've done it quite tight. There we go. But yeah, these are quite good. These are just the plastic Scott Pro 2000 filters, but it seems the tooling used on them isn't actually regular NATO tooling, so it seems they do go in and out quite well of if you see that, see obviously it manages to screw in and that quite easily. But yeah, that's a Czech CM5D, isn't it, Brian? Scott says, please pray for me as I start my Tesco night shift soon. Well, based on what we were saying, I don't know if you want Trump to necessarily pray for you, but best of luck to you. What do you mean by a Canadian 3M? I know of 3M as in Minnesotan mining, whatever it is that 3M actually stands for, like the hardware company. But what's a Canadian 3M? Well, botulism you'd have to ingest, wouldn't you? VX is an actual nerve gas that can kill you through skin contact. Botulism is kind of like a food poisoning thing that in theory can be weaponized. If you mean the Canadian C3, that's pretty good. Canadian C4s are even nicer. It's kind of like Canada's love child between an S10 and the US M40. It's got the really nice eyes on this mask, though. As I've said before, oldest mask, there's a couple that might contend for that, and I've not got them stored in this room anyway. I don't know, Zadeel, did you say something a mod decided they didn't like? We don't know, hashtag, or star, whatever your name is, because UK schools, they don't know at our end either. My mum actually works in schools, and she doesn't know even though she works in one when they're back open. Shrimp Zoo said, Detlef Schrempf, is the world's best basketball player in history. I don't know if I've ever heard of him. Yeah, well, I've not. I think last Easter I was actually out with my family, for a nice day out in the park or something with my grandparents, wheeling them to park in a wheelchair or whatever, or walking them very slowly, bringing some deck chairs for them and all that. But obviously this year we're just stuck inside doing nothing. I'm afraid my shums isn't accessible right now. I don't think that's worked out very well, Guero, if that was a legit conspiracy that happened. Because it's kind of, with bioweapons, are not very useful to use, thinking you can contain them to one nation. Unless you actually had the vaccines for them before they were released. If the only plausible coronavirus bioweapon sort of theory conspiracy I would believe is the idea that somebody accidentally released it from a lab. I keep forgetting, Tesco, I've got a drone. It's quite annoying. I'm going to need to dig it out because Hype bought one for himself. It went to me by accident because he put my address in. And then he said, you know what, Liam, you can keep it. And I keep forgetting I've got it. And at the moment, when we can't go outside due to infection risk, flying the drone around and filming some stuff might be really good. Like, really interesting for videos to see if there's covidiots outside where they shouldn't be. But yeah. I keep forgetting I've got that drone, so thank you. I do need to dig that out, get it all charged and ready, and do some videos of it. Because now is the perfect time when we're not allowed outside. Let me look up what an N90 is, Zadeel, because I've never really heard of them. So it's an N90 mask, is it? Is it a lower level of protection than N95? if it's the things I'm seeing that look like dust masks, yes, it's still better than nothing. If you can only have that or an option of no mask, I'd go for an N90 over that. My most modern mask, AKLA, may be, well, if you don't count the weird Chinese masks that different Chinese factories are making, probably my Scott M98 or my GSR or my Avon M50. Yes, an MUA will protect you, provided you've got a good filter on it. Singh says Bill Gates is well slimy. What's Bill Gates done? Yeah, so the people who are breaking all the rules and more likely to spread it, Daniel, are having a go at the people following precautions. The Avon M50 might be in this room. If the Avon M50 is here, I can show you that. But the GSR isn't in this room. The Scott M98 is behind me somewhere over there, but I'm not sure which bag I've got it in. Oh, thank you very much, Daniel. But yeah, when I've been outside like a week ago for shopping, at least more people were wearing a mask that week than this week. Sorry, that week than the week before. But yeah, Avon M50. If you are getting an M50, make sure you get a real one and not an airsoft mask where they're like literally plastic masks. So there you go, that's the Avon M50. Well, I wouldn't see people in shops, Sammy, if I'm going out to exercise. For exercise, I just normally go on a walk. Yeah, that's the problem, Waylon, is unless you get a C50, which is a 40mm one, M50s use these proprietary filters. What do you think I'm doing for you, Akla? Yeah, it's the bit that goes blue when they've run out. And look, they're blue. But the point is that's only for proper CDRM protection. If you were spray painting whatever, you still can't smell through them. Post your Discord ID, please, Daniel. And I can invite you. Yeah, that's why I get them second hand, David. Obviously, well, you can't. I don't know if you can even officially buy them brand new. I would say, Jingle Joe, if you have to go out shopping or something, wear a mask. Charles says, do a Boris impression. All right, let me take the mask off. Boris, who talks a bit like that and goes, let me get that picture up where I'm not using OBS, so I can't stream it, where he says, this is going to be a great year for Britain. And then let me try and read it in his voice. This is going to be a fantastic year for Britain. Where he's thumbs upping and doing that. I think he was a bit wrong there. If anybody's got a Boris quote, put it in. I'll try and do it in Boris's voice. But to be honest, I've never tried to really impersonate Boris. But yeah, Boris saying that this is a fantastic year for Britain. Christ, was he wrong? And it wasn't even due to Brexit stuff, because that's the reason he said that, is everybody said the country's going to fall apart because we're leaving the EU. No, it's just because we're getting horribly infected. In Resident Evil Sparrow, the first Resident Evil film, they've got FM12s on, but they've not got the filters on the masks, and they all break through the windows of the mansion. Well, you could wear one in the street, Jingle Joe, if you're going down a busy street, but it really depends what you're doing. Did Thingy Bob get his Discord ID to me? Daniel. Did Daniel post his Discord ID? Let me Control F. Let's see if he's posted his Discord ID. Message retracted. Oh, his Discord ID is Deadman77. Henry, what's his 4-digit code? Because I need that to add him. I've got a GVS mask somewhere. Caesar, a GVS ellipse. I don't know how sure I've put it. Because that was one of the masks I was wearing out and about. You can get the cheek filter out of a Chinese Type 65, but it's very difficult. But yes, they in theory can come out and then you could wash the mask. I like Mel Gibson as an actor, Shrimps, though. Elizabeth says, after we leave the EU, our empire will rise again. Sounds more like a German queen, then. There's not NBC ones as such survive, but there is an ABEC version, ABEC P3. So it 1733, his name, and what was the other bit of it? Deadman 77, 1733. Right, let me add you now. 1733, right. Yeah, it's added you. Once you get the invite and accept it, I'll add you to the server. Thank you, Caroline. She said, you're not stuck at home doing nothing. You're helping everyone. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, I think some of it is just trying to talk to people and stay sane. But yeah, but exactly, if you are at home, you are saving lives, essentially, with what's going on at the moment, which I think is something a lot of us need to remember. Well, not particularly us, because I think sometimes you are preaching to the choir a bit with these videos. But yeah, I've seen some of the or heard some of the LBC presenters get really pissed off recently, where they've had people phone in like, "Oh, I'm going to violate quarantine because you can't tell me what to do." But yeah, I've not seen any of my mates in person for weeks at this point, you know. But again, that's what you're meant to be doing. You know, I've not seen a lot of family members or whatever, but you know, that is what it is. And I suppose, like Caroline says, it is what we're meant to do, isn't it? I don't have a Hungarian M67. Right, gas and vapour filters, Echo Man, although they would offer some protection because they do act as a bit of a particle filter, you ideally need a particulate filter. If I get that big Scott filter again, wherever it went. So, if we use this big filter as an example, the front layer is the particle layer in a vapour and particle filter. See, like the ridged paper? Let me flick the lamp on. So, the ridged paper at the front, that is the paper HEPA filter. That's primarily what you want for Corona. The rest of this filter is like the impregnated charcoal. In theory, impregnated charcoal is going to offer some filtration ability, so it's better than nothing. But you're not really meant to use vapor filters for Corona. You need combination filters or just particulate filters. Yeah, I haven't had any Easter eggs this year, Grobnob, because I've not been out to buy any, because they're not really an essential item. Maybe, and happy Easter to you, Dazzling Dice, maybe he will get lung cancer in the future. Very limited exposure isn't really a problem. Raptor 501st said, doing some mad vapes now. Block 63 says, I would like to send to my friend in UK MAT RPG style rocket launcher tube. It cannot be rearmed, and now it's just a plastic tube. Is it possible according to British laws? That's very tough because it would have to meet our deactivation rules. So I really couldn't advise you on that. there's a lot of stuff like that where even if it was deactivated but not deactivated to British standards, they could claim you're trying to send explosive or firearms through the post or something. Soren, my day has been pretty boring in all honesty. I got up, filmed a YouTube video, talked with some people on Discord, had, some food and that, did a FaceTime thing with not FaceTime, WhatsApp call to my mum, doing a video thing just so I could say hello to my mum because I've not seen my mum for weeks now. And yeah, now I'm streaming. Thank you, Max. He said, hey there, Mr. Last few streams, been busy. I've been looking for any used RDS 110V or 100V, but no luck. Do you have one? Let me look that up. Is that a type of battery or whatever, RDS 110V? So it's a Radiac set, is it? Let's have a look. No, I don't have one. That's the one I really wanted to get. I really wanted to get the yellow version that's in the CD range. I really wanted one of those, but yeah, the yellow CDV one is the Rontgen one, isn't it? It's the CDV 718, I think it's called. But no, I've not got an RDS 100, any of those. But what I would recommend to you to look into as well, if you're in the States, is type in CDV 718. And there's a couple of variants of it on that as well. But I'll put a post on for you. But yeah, they did the really nice one, Max, that was basically that, but the last thing in the US Civil Defense series. Thank you, Fighting Welsh. He said, thanks for all the filter knowledge in this bad time. That's all right. Thank you very much. Hope you're staying safe. But yeah, if you have a look at that, Max, that is the basically civil defense variant they made. And it's in Rontgens rather than thing. That is, as far as I'm aware, the Geiger counter, as far as I know, with the biggest range that I've ever seen on a Geiger counter. Because measures, stores, and displays accumulated dose from 0.001 millirontgen to 9,999 Rontgen. Flashes display to indicate reduced accuracy condition when measuring dose rates above 1,000 Rontgen per hour. But the fact it literally goes to 10,000 Rontgen is pretty insane. I mean, I would love one of these, don't get me wrong, but sadly I've never seen one for sale. Yeah, they're interesting things. Marty says, trying to send you a question but it won't let me. Any idea? Thank you, Caroline. But yeah, any idea? Can you try and reword the question several times? You meant with all my knowledge, Caroline, that's all right. But yeah, the thing is as well, people should just be staying indoors, shouldn't they? Probably not, Noah, just because the filters from a World War I mask are probably not in anywhere nearing filter condition. What do you mean, Peach? Don't get the wrong token. Oh yeah, David, I've seen some of Sam Hain's things. It would be Samhain, wouldn't it? The correct pronunciation would be Samhain or Samhain. But yeah, Samhain's gas mask channel with some interesting Russian masks in the prototype video. Can't tell what you're saying, but the books he has are interesting. Yeah, I found that with a lot of Russian YouTubers. Sometimes the auto-generated translations don't work either, but I still like looking at them for some of the weird sort of old Soviet equipment they've got. Because I found some Russian channels that do similar things with like old Soviet civil defense Geiger counters and that, where they're going blah 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 blah. I know Russians don't sound like that, but doing that where you can't work out what they're saying, but you can get the gist of them wiggling different things in front of the camera. Oh, Peach was joking, saying, don't get me Rontgen, as in Rontgen. Ah, right. The Nate said, it's the equivalent of a chest x-ray. Actually, 400 chest x-rays. I've still got an IP5. I've the scrubber unit, though, I used up. I've got the IP4 still with its scrubber unit unprimed. I was in primed, ready to go. I think that was a photoshopped image thing. I think what they did was they had There was an article somewhere about a lion that escaped from a zoo, and then somebody had redone the title of it as Russia releases lions to keep people indoors. Jake White said, massive fan, dude. Hello. Hope you're okay. What my political views are, I'm pretty libertarian in all honesty, although at the moment I've only been feeling a bit more authoritarian because all of the idiots going outside making things worse for everybody else. Look on Teespring, but I'll have a look for you. But I think they do all sorts of sizes on Teespring. But let's have a look on Teespring. So I'll get you this hoodie up I've got on at the moment, and then we can look at what the listing actually does. Where's the S10 hoodie on there? Weirdly, I've got another bit of merch on underneath this. I'll make sure I grab the t-shirt down before doing it, but yeah. See, I've got the weirdly the Rontgen shirt on under there. Let me work out how. Cause I'm trying to remember on Teespring how you actually get onto your own Teespring store. From like, here we go. Right, so it's recommending my own stuff on Teespring. That's useful. Right, I'm just going to bookmark my own page because weirdly I didn't have this bookmarked. So for people who don't know what we're talking about, here is the Teespring thing. So is there a hoodie near the top somewhere? Because I want a hoodie. Where's the S10 one? I can't spot it. Oh, it's because I did it in blue. Anyway, so yeah, just for people if they were having no clue on about this. So sizes: small, medium, large, extra large, 2 extra large, 3 extra large. Although it looks like 3 extra large can't be delivered at the moment. So yeah, the point is that they do these in all sorts of sizes. I was in the ex-UK firearms officers' helmets, Conker. It's pretty much a modern Pascut, so it's very good in terms of protection for a Kevlar helmet. I don't like the liners that much in them. They've actually got quite good liners in terms of comfort and everything. The issue is it's one of those overcomplicated liners, which ends up being, I find a bit naff, just because you can never get the liner comfortable because there's so many little straps and everything on it. But in terms of how good the getting distracted by other comments, how good those helmets are in terms of being helmets, they're very good. So it's basically like, the last gen done of US Pascut helmets. I don't know, Communist Dude. You'd have to look on Teespring because basically all you do is you list things with an iPhone and a Samsung. You say like, yeah, you can list the design, for example, on the thing, and I just fit it to size, and then any of the models that they do, you should see the drop-down list. Yeah. Could you use that functionally, Sing? Because I was always wondering about a bayonet on a crossbow, but unless it was a folding bayonet, you'd struggle, wouldn't you? Because especially with a big crossbow, if you had a foot stirrup, because you'd have to impale the bayonet into the ground every time you cocked it. But yeah, pistol crossbow would work all right on. I wouldn't mind taking some contaminated water off of their hands, David Brennan, but I'm sure the shipping would be quite a lot. It'd be quite interesting for a video, wouldn't it? Contaminated water from Fukushima on various counters. But then I might recommend VS equipment that the British Army would have to spend money on. Not. Vanessa said, when the Queen's in bed, do you pull the covers up to your chin and say, look, Philip, I'm a stamp, lick me? I hadn't actually heard that joke before. I thought it was quite funny. Yeah, so Tumbo said you could have a quick touch. I think one of those SKS-style folding bayonets would work quite well, though. If you actually had a mechanism, so you could fold it where it wouldn't get in the way of the stirrup, and then you just have one where it kind of unfolds out and locks into place. Thomas J says, don't vote for Trump. I wasn't aware I could vote for Trump because I'm in the UK. But, Elizabeth said, only once. 3.6, not great, not terrible, Vladislav says. Problem is, Frosty, I've not actually seen a lot of comments recently because I'm getting so many comments at the moment. Other than when I'm doing streams, every now and again I'll go on the comments and reply to a load, but that's always the most recent ones. So it's not like where I used to be able to literally reply to every comment, sadly now. So no, I haven't seen a Tom, and I didn't know he was a spam bot, but thank you for warning me. Are they gonna do an early lift of lockdown, Aussie? I don't know if they will or not. And again, we could have a second wave if they don't do it properly. Pete says, sticky in, just one lick. Yes, Logan, if you get one in good enough condition, it will protect you. Again, will an old PMG give you good enough protection from, like all sorts of chemical weapons? Probably not in this day and age. Will it protect you with a good enough filter on it from particle threats, some vapor threats, inhaling dangerous dust and things like that? Yes. I didn't know that. That's very interesting, Wayland. He said the SKS bayonet was designed to stick in the ground in the prone position for better accuracy, the same as the bipod, also the same as the Type 56 Kalashnikov. Wow, that is fucking fascinating. I never knew that. So that's actually a really clever design then. You've got to hand it to like the Russians or the Chinese or, the Yugoslavs, whoever had that bayonet design, where it folds out, locks into place, it's a proper bayonet. You can fold it in so it's out the way and still there and you don't have to attach it, or you fold it and lock it down. So yeah, you pierce it into the ground and it acts as a bipod. Fucking hell. Those clever Russians. I know we say that a lot about the Soviets. The communist system wasn't all that clever, but fucking hell, I've never thought that you could do that. You've got to admit the Soviets did make so many just good practical designs. Oh, the GP5 you're on about? I've also got on there the PTM1, which looks a bit creepy, but I've got the PTM3 in the other room. Oh, not PTM1, the blue-green PTM1. Right, before I stop the stream, let me get the what's it that a few people are asking about, the PMG1 or whatever, because it's in the other room at the moment, weirdly. So, not the GP5M, not the blue PTM1, PMG. For doing your Metro Cop cosplay, right? So, this is in tomorrow's video, and I know this one's a bit UV damaged, hence why he's gone brown. Look, I'm not using old Russian filter David, but yeah, here's the interesting thing. It turns out these Scott filters, like a few people had said to me, they were totally right. These are actually either DIN or GOST threaded, not proper NATO threads. So these actually screw in properly to Soviet masks. I mean, I know this is a very bulky, heavy filter for using with a PMG, because the PMG tends to yeah, in regards to that, this does actually I don't know if you can see that there, but yeah, it definitely does block the smells, because I tried it banana earlier. Well, I'm pretty sure it does fit Conquer Fordigan. I think I covered that in the video, and I'm pretty sure it did fit with the S10. Although I think my helmet was enlarged, so bear in mind, if you get a small helmet, it might not fit over your mask. But yeah, the voice emitter in these masks is very good for what it is. And again, Soviet simplicity. There you go. This is... You could probably make a condom into... not use this as a condom, obviously, but you could probably use a condom as a repair for one of this. Yeah, it's an O-ring. O-ring. One of these. That's your voice emitter. Cover. quite similar Guero, but the Shums has basically the metal intake and outtake at the bottom. PMG is more of its own face blank or face piece. I have a feeling this mask looks pretty weird if you fold it inside out. Hang on. PMGs are kind of cool masks, so I like them, but yeah, there you go. Kill me. Yeah, the mask's most famous because it was the one used in the concept art for Metro Cops in Half-Life 2. Although Metro Cops technically have like the filter there, don't they? And another bit there, they don't actually have the filter on the side. But you can get a PMG cheaply. They're all right masks. There's also a very interesting Chinese mask called the Type 69 or the M69, which is basically the Chinese ripoff of the PMG. Yeah, it's a big combination filter. But yeah, you could do the Metro Cut voice for the song. Pick up that can. Now, put it in the trash. You can put some mirrored bits on here, I guess, if you wanted to as well. But weirdly, going back to the thing about PMGs, I have seen some pictures of people in places where, you know, people have the weird bin bag masks because of Corona, and there is one or two people with PMGs on, or like full shims. Yeah, a Chinese ripoff, who'd have thought? But the thing is, it's where China's actually improved the design as they've ripped it off, which I quite like. What, the PMG is that? Welsh Arrow. I can't actually see your picture from there without my glasses on. Still too small, but what, the PMG? That's annoying, AWOL. Whereabouts are you? But I know at the moment lots of them are just in size small now, aren't they? Which isn't going to fit anybody. Yep, the P3 bit, James, means it works with virus. Yes, it would be fine, that filter. Yeah, pick up that roll. Take the filter off, Thomas. Take the voice diaphragm out so there's no easy to break bits. Just put it in a sink with some disinfectant in, really. That's all you'd need to do. I wouldn't use bleach, personally. Not as far as I'm aware, because if it's Stanag Piano Night, that would be 40mm NATO. And as AK74 guy says, yes, you can clean most masks with soap and water. Right, thank you, everybody. This has been a good stream. And hopefully Max saw that link I put in there about the thing. The, you know, really cool American CDV 718, which is like the one he was asking about. Yes, you can, Fighting Welsh. Anybody that donates can join. Make sure you read the rules, though, when you join, because recently we've had to have a bit of a purge, I'm afraid, with people who have been around on it for quite a while. We've got rules up, you know, and they keep breaking the rules, kept being given extra chances, and then eventually, unfortunately, had to be banned, you know, and then got really shitty about it. But, you know, if you just read the rules, if you're not sure about something, don't do it or ask a mod or whatever. But if you're being polite enough to other people, you're going to not run into any trouble. But yeah, I'm just saying it's just worth reading the rules when you come in. That way, you know, you can't say later on, oh, I wasn't told about something. Can you accept my friends thing and send me a message so I get you invited and I don't forget? Yeah, I can have a quick look at the Twitter chat, Peach, after the stream. I mean, that'll be literally a minute or so, then I'll be on the Twitter chat. Yeah, thank you, George. It'd be nice to know a Corona survivor. D and B military is where I get mine from. Muffin. What kind of respirator is it, James, before I go off? If it's like a dust mask style one, don't wash it. That can damage them. Yeah, so no, it's on tomorrow. And thank you for suggesting that. As I was showing earlier in the video, in the stream. Yep, seems to work a treat. But yeah, what was I saying? If an S10, yeah, that's fine. Take the filter off the S10. Wash it however many times you want to wash it. But I wouldn't say you would necessarily have to do it after every use of them, decontaminating the outside potentially. But the good news of an S10, once you take the filter off, you can just literally dunk it. Soap and water, yes. I don't have it in this room piano. I don't even have a Hungarian M67, so how can I show you a mask I don't own? All right, anyway, thank you, everybody. I'll be off. Thanks for having a good, cheerful stream towards the end of it, despite all the horrible things going on in the world, and hope you're all good. So, yeah, take care, everybody. There's a Discord for donators, Oliver. Anyway, I'll be off. See you all, and stay safe, you know, and happy Easter or Passover or whatever your religion is, or if you don't have a religion, happy, you know, normal atheist day for you as well. Goodbye.